Live. We're totally live. And I'm totally a kid.
I'm totally a kid.
That is
That's a ceiling fan reference.
old school ceiling fan reference right there.
That's like the first episode, man.
Hey, I'm totally a kid.
I'm totally.
That joke comes from one time I was hanging out with some people, and we were talking about voice actors, like adult voice actors who pretend to be kid voice actors. And they're like, hey, I'm totally a kid. I'm not. Yeah.
Not playing a kid or anything. I'm totally a kid.
Okay, so how do I find the link to share this?
I'm just about to share it with you guys.
Okay.
If you can even believe it.
It's probably on you. We're all subscribed to you, so we can just find the video right here.
Oh, here, yeah, but I'm gonna. You see it?
I already got the link. Yep.
Oh.
Starting soon, it says.
True. I could go to just YouTube. Duh.
So it's there. Here's the link. I'm sending it on Facebook to everyone. Where's Caleb?
Yeah, I know. What the heck? Where's Caleb? He didn't say he was going to be available here, so I assumed he wasn't. He's really bad at getting back to me on Facebook. I would have really liked to have him. I love that guy. He has an interesting flavor because he's never listened to Odyssey before.
He really does. Oh. That was not an intentional inner tube reference, actually.
Wait, I don't know what that reference is.
I said he really does.
He really does. Anybody who's just joining us, by the way, we're all trying to share the link real fast. That's why nothing cool has happened yet. These guys are just Skyping each other.
All right. People have there's lots of people here.
How many? 10?
I think there's already people liking it. 7 people liked it.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna just type on Twitter. I am live streaming.
Okay, some people think this is a Say Goodnight Kevin live stream. So just let some of you guys know what's really going on. This is being hosted on Say Goodnight Kevin's channel, but this is actually a live stream that we're doing for the Odyssey Scoopcast. Your source of the latest
Odyssey Scoopcast.
News, adventures in Odyssey, news, and reviews.
That actually sounds better than what our actual thing is.
Abigail Hokie says, hi, Garrett. Hi, Abigail.
Hello.
How's it going?
She didn't say hi to me, so I don't know why I'm saying hello.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a little bit too creepy of a way to say hi back.
It was a bit. Just a bit.
A little bit.
Just a tad. Just a smidge.
Okay. Finally got Twitter to send out what I was trying to do. I could have just retweeted Ryan's, but that it's good that I'm letting the world know directly from. Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's not like I could use the followers.
Sharing the screen, the stream thing too on the Odyssey Scoops page.
Okay. Good. And then we'll actually get into what we're here to do.
1 hour later.
Finally.
So
all right. So we're 4 minutes in.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get started here.
Let's do this.
Get started. And I believe that it says chat right here, but I guess I need to look at the if people are commenting, I need to look at the YouTube. Yeah. The YouTubes.
That's where the real chat's going on.
All right. Good. Okay. So Garrett, you can lead this.
Okay.
Because I'm just here.
Okay. Well, first, let me just introduce all you guys who are joining us on the live stream real quick. Yeah, this is a review of Adventures in Odyssey album 61, which actually hits the shelves today, I believe. So if you have heard some of these episodes already, if you're a subscriber to the Odyssey Adventure Club, you've probably heard a lot of these episodes already. If you're not, you can go purchase these episodes. But we're going to go through the entire album, all 6 episodes, and share our thoughts, share what we hate about them all. And at the same time, this is going to be a recording that I'm going to edit down and we'll release in podcast form later on for the Odyssey Scoopcast. So if you're not subscribed to the Scoopcast, you can go do that after this episode, or you can right now if maybe Ryan, you want to find a link to send them on the chat.
Oh, here's an ask. I have a question. It looks like on YouTube it says that it's starting soon.
Yeah, I think people are here. They can hear us.
And people are asking how long they have to wait.
Oh.
So people who are commenting, can you hear me?
Here, post a link in the chat. In the chat?
No, no. But what I'm saying is it's not showing. It's not playing.
Yeah.
Do I need to hit something else?
It says it's live.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Okay, great. Cool. Okay, so they can hear us. We're good. All right. So yeah, everybody who's in the comments, yeah, Ryan's gonna drop you a little link there. So if you want to,
Yeah, did it show
subscribe
up?
to the show and hear previous reviews and stuff we've done. I mean, Kevin ran the show for like years, and more recently I've been helping out with episodes, and Ryan here is a co-host. So we're gonna get going right now.
Great.
So
I see people are they can see us, they can hear us, they believe in us. We have their full support from what I understand.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay,
We got like 40 people watching right now. So let's
real quick,
let's
I'm
do
gonna,
something
I'm gonna
good.
pretend none of this happened so far and kind of introduce the Scoopcast part of the show and talk to those guys.
Okay. Yeah, tell them because
it's
part of my former life.
So, hey everybody, and welcome to the Odyssey Scoopcast, our review of album 61. This is the Odyssey Scoopcast, your source for the latest in adventures in Odyssey news and reviews and snoozes, where we take some naps to Odyssey. Today on the show, we're going to be reviewing album 61 of Adventures in Odyssey. So today with me, I've got Kevin McCreary.
It's me.
Hey, I'm sure everybody's missed this guy. He's a great guy. And also, obviously, our longtime best friend / co-host, Ryan.
It is good to be back because
Do I have a last
I'm interrupting.
name?
Ryan Matlock. I was going to call
Thank
you
you.
Matt Ryan Lock or something. I always
Matt.
mix it up and call you Matt.
You
And
really
if
do.
you want to know,
Sterling Mortlock.
if you want to know who Ryan is, he's got a YouTube channel called Entrepreneur.
Yeah, and he's got another
The
podcast called
entrepreneur.
The Auxiliary Cable. Right?
No, it's the aux cable.
Oh, so
Garrett.
It's a cable that you like tie around an ox's neck and lead him around.
An ox cable, yeah.
Right.
OX
right.
cable.
Exactly. Except it's not spelled like that. It's AUX.
Yeah,
Garrett.
No, we spell ox differently.
And Garrett, who?
Well, one of my co-host is Canadian, so whatever.
That's true.
All right, so let's get started right here with the reviews of album 61. The first episode we're looking at today is called "The Feud of Mason County," written by a classic Odyssey author, episode writer, Bob Hoose. I've noticed in the past, Bob Hoose. I mean, he's like primarily associated with the Clubhouse magazine, right? Wasn't he like first writing for that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, he worked for Plugged In also. I think he's just a good writer or a writer. He's
a good like general writer. I've noticed though, it seems like his view of Odyssey is more of a kids show, and so whenever he writes episodes for
Absolutely.
Odyssey, they feel kidsier.
100%. This is by far in my opinion, the weakest.
We're already skipping ratings.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just feel like this is a good to start off with, but it may if this was like their first album of Odyssey that they watched, they would think by listening to this episode, it was a kid's show.
Yeah, for sure.
They think it was a weird
this episode
show.
Yes,
why don't we kind of go
because
around Kevin, you want to start and kind of share your likes and dislikes first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like a lot of like real Southern hick humor, and so this had a lot of that. And I also thought it was weird because I recently, on my honeymoon, went to Pigeon Forge, which is where Dollywood is, and also you have, and I wore this shirt on accident, but also intentionally for the Hatfield and McCoy's family dinner feud. And I survived, as you can see.
Was that the dinner show you were talking about on the inner tube?
It is. Yeah, it was like great food. It was really cheesy, hokey, and essentially it's this story. Like this Odyssey episode, I feel like completely ripped.
Like Bob Hoose was on his honeymoon.
He went to the same show.
Went to the
Yeah. And this is he was like, I could do an Odyssey episode about that. I mean, there's some differences, and obviously the Hatfield and McCoy story is old, and this is very much taking from that. But you know, obviously there's a Christian spin to it because the way the story goes in the show, Mr. Whitaker gets lost. He ends up in this town where these two families are feuding, and they've hidden God's word in their heart, but they're not. They don't actually have a Bible.
They've hidden
deep the physical Bibles. So a lot of things have gotten confused, and they're like quoting verses that aren't even in the Bible, and so they're feuding, but they're not realizing that, hey, we should. So Mr. Whitaker brings, spoiler alert for all of these episodes,
spoiler alert,
a real Bible in, and he's like, look, guys, you guys are fighting with each other, but if you both agree that the good book is good, then you guys should be getting along with each other. And so then they all read the Bible and like, oh, geez, we haven't actually been reading what the Bible really says.
You got to watch our language here, Kevin.
Thank you for teaching me the errors of my ways.
And I mean, I think the message behind the episode was good because it's kind of a parallel to the real world that we live in, where people don't actually read what the Bible says. They're just saying, oh, well, I've tradition has taught me this, but in reality, but what I don't like is it's so easy whenever you have these goofy characters to say, yeah, there are people out there who do that and not relate to it. Right. To me, is kind of the whenever it's like, oh, yep, idiots would do that, and then not say like, well, actually, I do that all the time, and so maybe there's something here for me to learn. It's more of a looking out there and saying, yeah, look,
the character you're supposed to sort of relate to is Mr. Whitaker, who's the one that's preaching at them. So you're like, yeah, you know, I should preach at people too who are being dumb.
Yeah. So to me, that's
how God's Not Dead happened.
Oh, nice reference there. But I definitely think that this episode had something good, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't. I don't like that kind of humor unless I'm on my honeymoon, and it's like, well, we're all here having a fun hillbilly time. Yeah. But once you're out of that, you're like, it's not my thing. Anyway, that's what I have to say. There was nothing real funny to me in it. I didn't laugh.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
All right.
A little harsh coming from me here at the beginning.
We're starting this off not very well. What did you think, Ryan?
I thought I enjoyed most of the episodes in this album, actually. To be honest, I get where Kevin's coming from. Usually it does bug me a bit in the back of my mind when they take a character or almost a stereotype and they make a character or even a group of characters that, like, hey, look, this is the Valley Girl, guys. Just in case you didn't know about this label that we attached to this character, that's a Valley Girl. That's a country hick. That's, whatever they want to do.
It's just so dependent on archetypes.
Kind of, yeah. And just all those things, they kind of distract from the episodes for me. But other than that, I did enjoy the episode just because I got to see Wit kind of in a different element. Because you imagine Wit as being in Adventures in Odyssey, in Wit's End, serving ice cream and helping kids with problems. But the thing is, that didn't happen this episode. You got to see what would happen if Wit was in a situation where he wasn't in his comfort zone and he was faced with a problem. What would he do? And I really like that.
Yeah. For me, when I came in, like, this was I wasn't really in a mood where I was like, oh, album 6. Like, sometimes I come into a new Odyssey episode and I'm like super pumped that there's new episodes. But I mean, I came in this was like, okay, let's see what's on the roster this time.
You were like, impress me. Adventures in Odyssey. After 30 years almost they've been around. You're like, let's see what you guys, if you still have it.
So yeah, I mean, so I came into it and I was like, oh, it started out with Red and Mr. Whitaker, and since Red was introduced, I kind of felt like he was a pretty useless character. I mean, I could see they're trying to replace
always
Bernard.
Hated him, and you've always said it.
I've always hated him. But I mean, he's just kind of a replacement for Bernard, but he's just like, he doesn't have the same kind of charm as Bernard did. But of the episodes I've heard him in so far, I think this one, his jokes were almost funny this time.
Whoa.
So,
High
which
praise.
is better than being cringeworthy, which they have been in the past.
Yeah.
But as far as this episode obviously is starring the longest running character in Odyssey, Mr. Whitaker, and he kind of acts like himself. I was just actually going through and editing our interview with Phil Lawler, and we had quite a few conversations, and it reminded me of those because we were talking about how Mr. Whitaker has changed a lot over the past, even 10 years.
Almost like he's changed 3 times.
It's almost like, it's like he's gone through this metamorphosis and like.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
New voice.
Ryan doesn't even know that there are actors. He thinks it's.
Wait, what? What?
Somebody just turned on a recording.
Real? You mean Wit? Is it
all
real?
Don't tell Ethan that though.
What? Ethan, Connie Kendall is not real.
But one of the biggest things that we talked about is how Wit has become a lot more one-dimensional in the last few years. He used to be this, like, kind of on the surface level, he was an ice cream man, and he knew his Bible, and he was really nice to the kids and had a good dynamic with them. But underneath it all, he kind of had this mystery and had a deep personality, had a past, and
Yeah.
And there was a lot more to him. But in the recent years, new writers have come on the show, and they obviously didn't take the time to listen through 400, 500, now like near 800 episodes to try and catch up to the show, which is understandable.
Yeah,
but,
it's that reminds me. That's how I felt about Community. Whenever I'm sure everybody watching this also watches Community, but whenever they had that season, I think it's season 4.
Yeah.
It may be season 5, but where they had a different showrunner. And you could tell that, like, the people who were running the show it was like they liked the show, but they'd never read the show Bible.
Right.
And so they understood,
they didn't hide
like,
the word in their heart well enough.
Yes, they didn't. They understood the types of funny things and the types of things that these characters would do, but they didn't know where the original showrunner was going with it.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what this reminds me of a little bit sometimes with Mr. Whitaker, is that, like, of course there are writers. Yeah, they understand what he would do in previous episodes, but that doesn't mean he would have done that had he had the same trajectory that he had initially. So, like, they would have been going one place with the character, but now he's kind of stagnant in the fandom memory. And they don't want him to, like, change.
Happened to Mr. Whitaker, and so we see him in this episode, and it's like, okay, this is a Wit episode. We have an opportunity once again, maybe for some character development, but
maybe some humanity to him.
Yeah, but it's a pretty generic episode. It's just like, here's a story, we need to slap some characters in, so I guess Mr. Whitaker will be the main character.
Yeah,
and
he sometimes is the biggest struggle I think that writers may have with Mr. Whitaker is that he's too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, everything he does is the right decision.
Way back in the day, episodes like Clara and episodes talking about his marriage and stuff, like, you actually saw his flaws.
Yes.
And he used to be a much more 3-dimensional character. Now he's
just flat.
He's just flat. He's lost too much weight.
Mm-hmm.
You can see on the cover.
That's true. You can see in the pictures. Too skinny.
But one dimension we have gained in the past 10 years is Wit has pretty much, like, he's just an ice cream man. He's an old man, and he gives kids advice, and he knows the Bible, but he's also become somewhat of a ladies' man.
That is true.
But he's always like this mild man, like, no, please.
Oh, not I.
Like,
not I.
Sudden one after
but
him.
The women are throwing themselves at him.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Ma from this episode wanted him to marry her.
I know
please stop, guys. I can't
take the slightest kindness that he showed, and she's like, "I've taken that as a marriage proposal."
Well, I kind of felt like there was some sparks flying with Grandma Lucia Parker.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know if we're gonna see a Mrs. Mr. Whitaker.
Mrs. Mr. Whitaker.
Mrs. Mr. Whitaker.
So,
guys, don't give the people at Odyssey any ideas.
Do we need to rate these episodes then?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to ratings. I felt like overall it was pretty kidsy, pretty silly. It wasn't terrible. I'm gonna give it maybe a I enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than you guys.
8 out of 5. That's a great rating.
That's pretty high praise.
6 out of 10 deeds for
Good deeds.
Lost Rivers.
I get it.
I'm gonna give it 5 out of
deeds.
10. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10 Bibles in a box.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 3 out of 10 horrible country accents.
Alrighty. So on average, we have a rating of about 4.5.
Yeah.
Meh. Meh.
All right. Well,
All right. So
next episode.
Next episode here. So next episode we got here is Parker for president.
I really liked this one.
A timely episode.
We've done an election episode in a school, but it was written by Kathy Buchanan, directed by our much loved director Phil Lawler. But yeah,
interesting to say the
really,
least, because every once in a while, if you keep up with me on Facebook, you'll find that I'll butt heads a bit with Phil Lawler in comments.
No one.
Sometimes Kathy Buchanan will jump in and defend me.
Kathy, such a sweet name.
So it's interesting because typically they're political arguments.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that this is somewhat of a political episode that she would have written and he directed.
And then Phil directing it. So he probably
he probably changed everything. It was probably it was probably
if you
like
you disagree with, guys, it's probably Phil's fault.
It probably ended initially with like, none of this matters. What are we doing here? And then he changed it to, all of this matters. This is the most important thing. You think Phil's watching this right now? Oh man, I
hope not.
I hope both of them are watching.
Ooh,
and
wow.
both of them hate me now.
I'm not sure they have to watch this to hate you.
Oh, nice. That's
sweet burn.
You want some cold water opinion. For
that? What is Ryan? What's your opinion on this episode?
My opinion on this episode is that it's been far too long since we had an episode where the kids run for class president. What was the last one? It had to be like.
It was. I think it was in Takes Integrity.
Takes Integrity. Yeah.
Lucy and Kurt.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fresh, at least, to have new characters running in the race, aside from
what an original idea, having new characters do the plot of an old episode.
Do the same thing that they did years ago.
It's wacky. So
what?
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, because like these characters definitely have different personalities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how soon did they record this episode? This was, I mean, maybe every election is exactly the same and we just think it's new every time. But like, there was a bit of nods to this current, that apply at least to this current election.
I noticed that, yeah. The one thing, though, issue I have with this episode, I knew how it was going to turn out, because every election, well, except for It Takes Integrity, every election bit that a TV show, audio drama, video does, where there's this huge race and both teams are butting heads, it always ends the same. The third guy that no one thought would win wins. Mm-hmm. It's like in Arthur.
Maybe that was.
I think Arthur ran against Muffy.
I think Recess has done that. Yeah, no, dude, you're 100% right.
Yeah, and in Arthur ran against Muffy or something, and then in the end, Binky won. The class bully won.
The worst person to be president.
Jay should have won this one.
That's
my biggest complaint about this album is there was no Jay episodes. Jay is the best character in the show right now.
Do you think that they're trying to like bring? I wonder if they're bringing what's his name from the middle. What's the?
It is.
What's the character's name?
We'll talk about that in a minute, though. Ryan, why don't you?
Okay.
I did like that they added that new. Speaking of the new character, I'm intrigued by that new character. I feel like this series could use a new character, and he's interesting to me. Like, we have heard almost nothing from him, and I can't even remember his name. But
I've heard a lot from him because I just edited a podcast interviewing him.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Starring. Never mind. But yeah, I it was interesting because the two people running were sister and brother. And I think I would have liked episode to go in a different I would have liked it to go in a different direction.
Yes.
For Matthew to be the big one and just respond the way that he should have. I'm getting kind of tired of episodes where the good person isn't even one of the main people doing something.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like the main people that you're invested in the episode, they all do the wrong thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I personally like it when everybody it kind of reflects man's depravity a little bit more, kind of like The Purge. Like Odyssey should do an episode.
They should.
I think that Odyssey should be as far removed from The Purge as possible, but that's just my opinion, Garrett.
Here's an idea. What if?
What's your Kevin's opinion?
Yeah, I mean, if
what
they
if
did
Odyssey killed off all the characters?
Yeah, I mean, what if you want Matthew to be maybe not so good, or you want what if we had as class president Camilla? Is that who?
Camilla, yeah, that would be fun. I think she's probably still in like preschool though.
No, who became class president?
Emily.
Oh, Emily. Yes. Okay. All these new characters. I was going to say Donna. Donna and Jimmy were running for class president. And then all of a sudden
there's got to be an episode like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're like filling those roles and stuff. There was a few things in the election. I mean, I guess maybe that's the influence of Kathy Buchanan having a third-party candidate win.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's other options. We could, if we all got together and wrote in Gary Johnson,
because that'll be better.
They're all the same.
They are. They're all politicians.
That's Jones's view on the election.
That's what the ending should have been. Is just like it turned out that every candidate, even the ones that seemed to be bringing a ray of hope, were just the same old, and the school never changed.
The school decided to just go back to some sort of democracy / anarchy. All the kids ran free, and everyone lived happily ever after.
Because it turns out the principal's controlling all of it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
They should kill off the principal.
Yeah, no. So my thought is, if they ended up having so if Emily gets in office, but then institutes the purge.
Oh my!
In Odyssey. And everybody just goes along with it.
We'll call it the splurge, and because it's
so
it's Odyssey, we got to tone it down.
I don't think it was a bad episode. It was much better than the first one. I give it 6 out of 10 ballots.
Campaigns.
Okay, yeah,
I'll just leave that for my.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, this episode really reminded me of It Takes Integrity, because it was literally just a ripoff of that episode. But like Ryan was saying, this new character Maury is he's pretty interesting. He actually they brought, I mean, ever since they started bringing in like all kinds of new characters, some of them have just totally like flopped for me. Like, I think I've talked about it before, that I think Jay is just the most useless human being in the entire show.
What?
You shut your mouth.
Barrett. I'm sorry. Jay is amazing. Jay is my bae.
Okay, I was like, you just said you love him so much.
No. Barrett is just awful. He has no personality whatsoever. He's just
hey guys, I play trombone, and that's it.
His personality is trombone. That's Jay, or it used to be verminoids. So those are his two character traits: verminoids and trombones.
Mm-hmm.
But now this guy, he seems like he's got a backstory that we don't know enough about yet. So we
What's
actually
his name?
have Maury.
Maury.
That's right.
Yeah. Played by the youngest kid on The Middle.
Yeah. Not only that, but actually, as soon as it came on, I was like, hey, I think I've heard that voice before. It is because my girlfriend made me watch this show called The Lion Guard, which is the sequel to The Lion King. It's a TV show.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's a little bird on there named Oh No. And I was like, hey, and I looked it up, and it's the same guy.
Oh no! What's he gonna do?
King likes Daniel more than me and you.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should form a trio, guys.
Little.
We should make the VeggieTales scoop cast.
Yeah.
A little
so I'm kind of
VeggieTales
excited for this
trio.
new character.
We could dress up as a. just a clove of cauliflower, like all three of us in the same suit,
Like the onions.
like our 3 heads. That'd be great.
I'm not wearing an afro.
Drown him in the ocean. Okay.
Well, okay. So that's my opinion. I thought it was an okay episode. Did anybody else have any thoughts?
Yeah. So, like I've been trying to say for the
me.
past 25 minutes, I'm pretty excited about this character of Maury because he actually seems like, for one thing, he has a bit of a personality. He's kind of mysterious. He's smart. He's got a past, so he actually has a story that we're interested in maybe hearing about.
Absolutely.
And he's got a funny voice, and that's a big thing for an audio show. You got to have a distinctive voice.
And he's got that voice,
like you.
and he's like 20 years old, the actor, so it's not changing anytime soon.
Exactly. It's perfect. So he can stick around for a while, and I have no problem with that. He seems like he's going to be a cool character.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall it was an all right episode. Didn't pull me in too deeply. It was, like Ryan said, pretty predictable plot. I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 hanging Chad ballots.
And I think I'll give it. I did enjoy it, but at the same time I predicted it. So I'll give it 6 campaign slogans.
All righty. So our next episode here is Old Tricks, written by my absolute favorite writer, Nathan Hubler.
Nice.
Ooh, Daddy.
Hey,
And it was directed by
I've heard
Bob
of
House
him
as well. Yeah, I've heard of him. Whoa. What a
He's got
coincidence.
the pie in his face.
Now, this episode is not about what you might think that an episode called Old Tricks would be about.
You're thinking it's going to be about a dog that's trying to learn some new tricks.
No, I thought it'd be about a retired magician.
You can't teach an old trick new dogs.
New dogs. Yep. So, but you know, it's interesting. It's more closely related to what I was alluding to than you would think, because Buck did used to be a con artist.
Mm-hmm.
And spoiler
alert. He was trained by his master, just
really
like
was.
a dog.
Mr. Skint.
Yeah, I'm sure I've told you guys. No, I'm not going to go. And anyway, sorry.
No. I know what you're going to say, and I'm not going to let you say it. I've already said old tricks on this episode. That's enough innuendos for my day.
Okay. So, yeah. Biggest problem I've had with most of the episodes in the past few years that I didn't like was that what we've already talked about, people just writing stories and then slapping on Odyssey characters that don't really actually necessarily fit the story. They're just like, oh, well, we need to have characters to act out this story. And so I find, like, when I enjoy an episode of a TV show or any sort of ongoing content, it's usually because I care about this character and the character is going through some sort of situation where one of their character traits is challenged and they have to work through some situation.
Yeah.
I mean, like every episode of I Love Lucy is about her trying to, she gets into trouble because she always goes behind Ricky's back and then ends up backfiring on her. Even though it's super predictable, it's still enjoyable to watch because it's like, okay, Lucy's at it again. We know what she's going to do. But yeah, just having random stories and then with characters slapped on that doesn't really have anything to do with their character trait. It doesn't make for an engaging continuous show. I found that, continues to be a problem in Odyssey whenever people don't understand characters, but this doesn't happen with Nathan because he actually gets the show.
I was about to say, wait, what are you saying? This episode is the opposite of what you're saying.
So this was my favorite episode on the album, favorite episode in a while.
Yeah.
We've got Eugene here and he's really struggling to try to be, he's in this new situation where he's trying to kind of be a dad figure. And I felt like that was a really cool inner conflict there. And also Buck, like, he
absolutely, because
has a story that he's got a past that he's trying to deal with.
Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting because I'm thinking about how much I like this episode as well. Just that the conversation has been for Odyssey, like whether on the podcast or with the writers and stuff, like has been because everybody's like, make Eugene a dad, give him and Katrina have babies. And you know, the question is how do you have, yeah, nobody wants to listen to that episode. All right. An audio drama, guys.
Oh my word.
Every detail. What? Doesn't sound right.
We want to hear Eugene and Katrina making babies.
Right? That's how Odyssey will improve. We want an audio drama like that. It's like, well, I don't know, but okay.
Don't give the people at Odyssey ideas.
I don't think they would take that idea.
I think so. But the thing about it is that the character of Eugene, how does he become a dad? Like, well,
Right.
Nobody knows how that happens.
They got to do a whole explanation episode.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul McCusker. We just want to let you know that.
Please get your
This
parents
episode
for
will
this
be covering certain topics. Please go get your parents, or at least don't tell them you did this.
Fun fact,
No,
I never
but,
got
like-
my parents.
Yeah, I know. Those were the ones we were like, you just turn it down and you're like, all right, this one's going to be
Find
good.
a corner to hide in with your headphones.
So, like, I think this episode is a great way to show like the struggles it takes, because basically the way they've done this is they've, instead of Eugene and Katrina having a baby, they've adopted a kid who needed help, which I think is, for one, a really great example. That's good to have like a character that everybody looks up to do something that's selfless like that.
It's an unexpected twist.
But like to have then this character who really wasn't planning to become a dad suddenly thrown into that situation where he has to, like, he already has a hard time relating with people, but having to relate with this kid who doesn't have the same interests. And how do you balance
is a classic
that?
struggle for dads anyways. So it really,
Right.
not only does it fit a dad type character, it fits Eugene's character. So they really mesh well together, that kind of conflict.
You know, every time I hear a Nathan episode, you can really hear the influence of Marshall Younger, because Marshall always did that, where he would implement things like real life situations that maybe you weren't thinking about it being a Bible lesson,
Right.
and just have those things play out. And Nathan kind of carries that mantle and does that
Honestly,
as
just
well.
needs to start focusing on the family again.
That's what I think should happen. No, but like I like that here's a real struggle that people deal with, and they cover that. I mean, I don't know. I really liked it. I liked that they had Buck, who is a character that
he's really got this cognitive dissonance between, he wants to prove himself to Eugene and Katrina that he's worth their love, but also he wants to, at the same time, that's almost, especially in this episode, that's really battling. He also wants to prove that he's a decent human being that doesn't commit crimes all the time.
Right. His character reminds me a bit of Jason, which was always my favorite character, because Jason would do things that weren't necessarily good, thinking he was doing the right thing,
great or good,
and then having to learn maybe that's not the best way, because these sorts of unpredictable things come into play. And so I really like this episode, is what I have to say.
But so, I mean, yeah, this episode's, it's set up great because it has an actual genuine conflict. So when we finally get to like the last scene and there's this interaction between Eugene and Buck, that feels like the most real drama I've heard on Odyssey possibly ever. I mean, that was a really raw scene. Like, even that almost gives me like flashbacks of when I had really stern conversations with my dad when I was young, and like, oh man, like you can really feel Buck and you can really feel Eugene in that scene. And I love it.
You can almost reach out and touch them.
You can almost reach in, slip your hand in your earphones and. All right. So what did you think, Ryan?
I thought it was good. I love the relationship between Eugene, Katrina, and Buck. Not always. Sometimes it seems kind of, I don't know, just kind of normal and written, to be honest. But this episode was a little bit different.
Once again, Ryan's perspective of reality gets shaken by realizing it's a scripted show.
You've ruined it, Kevin. You've ruined it.
Reality show.
This is scripted. No, I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, you're not sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this is not real. I wanted to live in Odyssey. Anyway, I liked the episode mainly because it's been a while since Buck like had a challenge that he gave into, and it wasn't like, oh, he's giving into it so he can catch this bad guy and he's really helping the police. And it was like a moment of weakness, which I think every character needs sometimes. In fact, I think it'd be better if they spent more time working through Buck's weaknesses rather than saying, oh, everyone in the Parker family makes the same mistake and then they're all happy when Mr. Parker comes home. Great.
Yeah.
So I did like it. I was glad to see the way that Eugene and Katrina handled it, just showing Buck that continuous love, but also almost a tough love where they will punish him if they need to keep him in to keep that kid in line.
The spanking scene was really uncomfortable, I gotta say. Well, Buck,
no worse than the scene you want.
It really reminded me of actually that scene in. Have you guys seen Little Men?
No.
It's the sequel to Little Women, and there's this.
Oh, right.
Really? Yeah, no, it actually is.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's this scene between Mr. Little Women. I forget what his name is.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's his name.
Joe's husband. Joe is a girl, by the way.
Yes, it's not that kind of Little Men.
But he's there's this kid who they adopted into the family. I think Buck may have even been inspired by this character, but he's kind of adopted into the family. He was a kind of a hoodlum on the streets, stole a lot, and I think he steals something from the family, kind of rips them off, but he does it for a friend. I mean, it's kind of like, again, same kind of struggle. He's
okay. So this is completely ripped off from that.
Totally a rip off of this. But it's a good dynamic. I don't mind this rip.
Yeah.
But between the two of them, where the dad, he's talking to this kid, we'll say Eugene and Buck. Eugene's like, all right, Buck, you did something real bad here. So here's the paddle. Here's my hand.
Pick one.
And he has the kid spank his hand to show him how much it hurts him when he does wrong.
Whoa.
And it's a really powerful scene. It really it's a tearjerker.
No, that's cool. Well, I really like that they showed a character who did something wrong out of love,
right? And
then kind of discussed the ramifications of that. Yeah, because clearly he really loves Eugene and wants him to wanted to help him, and so he did something wrong, and so they had to like work through that to figure out why that's right or why that's wrong, and why that's not the right way to go about doing the right thing.
This is an example of an issue that's not just one dimensional. We actually have more things than one to consider. So great episode. So I'm going to give this episode a 9 spankings out of 10.
Oh, and just to be clear, anybody who hasn't listened to the episode, there wasn't a spanking scene in this episode, which I think it was a great episode, great picture of like how not to do the wrong thing for the right reasons, or just going through that. I like how it was a nice picture of grace that parenting. I imagine I'm not a parent. It's apparent probably that I'm not a parent. But parenting is constant. Like, when do we show grace, and when are we stern, and just you're always learning as well. And I like that. So I'm gonna give this 8 dimensions out of 10.
That's pretty deep amount of dimensions there.
I would like to mention though that that spanking scene can be found in the extended version of Album 61.
Which you can only get by subscribing to the Odyssey Scoop.
It's gonna cost you to hear that spanking scene. How many? What do you give it?
You have to subscribe to all of us on everything and tell your soul.
Yeah. What, Ryan?
Yeah, I give it. I liked it. It's a good episode. I'm gonna go with you, Kevin, and give it 8 somethings out of 10. Probably something to do with the episode. I can't think of anything. So that.
Excellent. All right, we gotta skip right through this.
Got ratings on this show so far. So good job, Nathan Hubler. You're a boss.
Yeah, he really is.
He really is somebody's boss. All right. So our next episode is called The Key Suspect. Again, another episode here written by Bob Hoose and also directed by Phil. Did Phil direct the other? No,
I
Bob
don't
Hoose
know.
directed his own episode. But yeah, so Phil Lawler directed this episode. Probably why it didn't stink.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I liked that it wasn't completely predictable, but I feel like the whole episode was just to set up that one kid, the new kid.
Yeah. The thing that we'll find out in album 62. No, album 63. No, album 64. Okay, there it is.
Like, it's the setup that kid has more to him.
He's not just a geek. He's a smart geek, and he'll get you.
No, he's really going to be the next Richard Maxwell, I bet.
Probably, yeah.
So,
like
Ryan, give a quick synopsis of what happened in this episode.
In this episode, I'm going to be trying to recall from the time I mowed and listened to it. So, here's what happened. Basically, the Jones and Parker Detective Agency are back in the saddle after all the lockers in the school are opened, but nothing's taken from them. They're just unlocked and hanging open. Anyone could take anything. And at first, they think it's Jay, but then they think it's someone else. Then they think it's Jay. Then they think it's someone else. Then the lockers open again. Then they think it's someone else. And then Jay. Basically, they go back and forth and they don't find anything. And then they find a bunch of clues that reference things that are kind of otherworldly. Well, not otherworldly, just other culture. Japanese, other culture, yeah.
Otherworldly.
Fun fact, there's an exchange student that for some reason decided I'm going to do an exchange program in America.
Town of Adventures in Odyssey.
In America, in high school.
The town of Adventures in Odyssey.
Rather than go. Oh, this reminds me, Kevin, of one of those reports you did on the Ceiling Fan where you were talking about how Odyssey is full of people of so many diverse cultures.
Yeah.
It's like, every other person is from a different country.
There's so many different accents. And now we've got this exchange student. And then like Buck, at least there's an explanation for these two. Yeah. Like it used to be, it's just everyone because it was like a cartoon. Everyone had some accent from New York and Chicago.
Because in an audio show, you have to have distinctive voices. So if they don't have, if they have a generic sounding voice, you got to spice it up with something.
You know, I think Kevin and Garrett, you might sound a little bit too close, and I might sound too close to both of you. Maybe we should all speak in accents for the rest of the podcast.
Oh, I'm the Lucky Charms.
Cheerio. I am Ryan, the
We're
British,
all talking about cereal here.
Silly rabbit. Tricks it for kids.
All right, we got them all.
None of us are kids anymore.
Gotta catch them all. Okay.
The tricks?
Gotta catch them all. That's Pokemon. Pokemon cereal for a limited time only.
You eat
Grab
Pokemon?
them, catch them before they Pokemon go.
Oh my.
Oh boy, I love cereal commercials. All right. Well,
so Ryan's sharing his thoughts about the episode.
Great.
Yes, Ryan is sharing his. So I didn't like it. I don't know. I like the Jones and Parker episodes when essentially they give me enough information. Here's what the perfect Jones and Parker episode should be. It should be like the Hunter Brown mystery books. Did either of you ever read those?
You mean like Encyclopedia Brown?
Time, but
Encyclopedia Brown. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know who Hunter Brown was.
I don't. It's probably some other book I've read. Anyway,
I wrote it. I just wrote a Hunter Brown mystery.
Encyclopedia Brown. It told short stories, and at first, it wasn't even like there was a mystery. It just showed something. Someone was doing something, and somehow they got the upper hand, and they would mockingly walk over to Encyclopedia Brown and be like, "Oh, looks like I won," or "Here's how this happened," and it'd usually be the town con artist trying to pull one over on the kids, and he'd notice just one fact that if you're super perceptive, you'd figure it out.
It was all the clues were there.
Yeah, all the clues were there, but they weren't super specific. It wasn't like the note that I read. Some of the things that they said in that, I heard it and immediately thought, that doesn't mean this. That means this. And then later in the episode, they're like, huh, what in the world could this possibly mean? Let us go through it line by line because we're idiots.
Dude, you're right.
And we can't figure it out.
And then they were like, well, it's a haiku, so it must be the Japanese kid.
Racist much?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought that was a little weird.
We've never seen her before.
She don't belong around here. Where you from?
As the Bible says, be very suspicious of suspicious folk.
Is mine.
Vengeance is mine. I will repay when people come in that don't belong.
Yeah. In fact, I'm live right now. The whole world could hear us, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Carmen's want to know because she wants to eat.
Oh.
Is that what you want to do? Or you want to...
Can you... No.
You want to reenact that deleted scene?
Kevin! Stop it! My virgin ears can't take this.
Well, I'm married now, so my ears.
Kevin's ears are no longer virgin. You don't want to get your hands anywhere near those ears.
Oh man, this is not the conversation to have, guys. Oh, Carmen. Carmen, people are saying hi to you.
Hi, Carmen.
There's people on the live chat saying hi, Carmen. She
Speaking
says hi.
of extended cuts, Garrett.
She says hi, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for saying hi. All right. Well, we got to probably crank through these a little faster. We're already 45 minutes in.
We're on our last two, so I think.
And technically, it's one. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, this one was fine. I would give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Lockers.
I gotta disagree with you though, Ryan, on this one. I felt like this was a solvable mystery. I mean, they threw me off a few times. I was really paying attention, trying to see, because I feel like these mystery episodes have been getting a little better, especially since the last one.
You had your magnifying glass out. You were
I was like really
in that hat thing. Yeah.
And I was trying to figure it out, and I think just like it was pretty close to when they finally revealed it. But I did figure it out before the end. But the thing about this mystery is it's a little different than most of them are written. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not, but the main clue that you get for who was really behind it is not in this episode.
It's a different episode?
Well, it's in Parker for President is when you kind of start to understand this kid Maury.
You learn that he's smart.
Basically, all you got to know is
racist much.
Smart. But no, it kind of plays into it, and if you're thinking about it, like, oh yeah, Maury is actually the one to have the most incentive. So I think it is solvable, but I did find it kind of weird that the clue, like the primary clue, was not actually in the episode.
And it's weird that they ended it saying we didn't solve it.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing to me.
Well, yeah, that's what's weird to me. You say it's a solvable thing, but they haven't solved it.
Right,
But you don't know what actually happened because
at the very end, they have that little conversation between Maury and his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, they don't really say much. She just says that
It's explained. You were
she doubts him, and she doubts him, and she denies it, or she doubts him, and he denies it.
Well, we know by the tone of his voice that he's lying.
He's a liar.
Sure. Or maybe that's just what they want you to think.
Anyway, the other thing
Blackguard's back
is that Dean was back, and he is my favorite new character by far. He's such a silly guy, and he so far has been a pretty consistently funny, and his character actually makes sense and continues to act like the same character. So
the awkward bully.
Happy to see him.
He reminds me of
starting him.
Ryan Paul. What's the guy's name from Breaking Bad?
Ooh.
Who plays Jesse on Breaking Bad?
That's
Please, somebody tell me. Paul Ryan, Ryan Aaron.
In the chat. You guys know who it is?
Hank Aaron. Well, anyway, that character reminds me of the the character that he plays on BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
And which I think our listeners also watched that.
Super relevant.
Two great recommendations from Kevin. Oh, Aaron Paul. Good.
Okay.
Breaking Bad and BoJack Horseman. Anybody, go watch that unless you're older than 10.
No, unless you're not older than 10.
No, if you're older than 10, don't worry about it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
If you're older than 10,
you
you're
go
old
watch it.
enough
Yeah.
to listen to Odyssey
Unless you're
episodes
younger than
without getting your parents.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm kidding, by the way, everyone. Though I do like both those shows. I think they're very well written. If your parents don't let you listen to the Scary Odyssey episodes, then maybe don't watch Breaking Bad.
Anyway, I liked this episode, but not a ton. It was better than the average.
Fair.
It was pretty close to average.
It was better than the average Barrett.
It was better than the average Barrett episode. So I'm going to give it 6 mysterious open lockers out of 10.
I already gave it lockers.
Oh, wait, you did? Oh, but I'd give him mysterious ones.
Oh, yours are different. That's true. Okay. You could have said keys.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Suspicious keys.
Yeah.
Suspects.
All right. So this last episode is a two-parter.
Ryan didn't give his
He
rating.
did too.
Yeah. I didn't.
Oh. Okay, then you can say
so-
keys.
Settle down, Kevin.
One more thing I'd like to mention. I think I'm remembering. It's been a little bit since I've listened to the episodes, but Matthew had a crush on the Japanese girl too, right?
Yeah, he
In
did.
this Yeah. Okay. So my rating's gonna be a little bit lower for that because I really don't like it when shows do that. Like, hey, a new character, and this character is super obvious that he likes this character he's never met.
I thought that was good because it made Odyssey a little more worldly.
And that's what we need.
Well, I mean,
Kevin.
it was a little more like it wasn't
We
like
know how
oh,
much
we-
you like worldly things, Kevin.
When
I was
there's
just
a
thinking,
cute
like-
new girl in school, then it's kind of hot.
It's yeah, I mean, it's cool that they did that instead of saying like, oh, we can't touch on that subject because, well, you know, we can't talk about kids having crushes. Like they
Oh,
should.
Yeah.
They should talk about that.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's not like it's
thi-
the new boy in school. That'd be different. See, we're giving all kinds of great ideas for Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey writers, you should just let us write your show for you. We're always
They should just hand it over. Well, then
Anyway,
on top of that, oh, go ahead. Sorry,
gonna
go
do
ahead.
rating.
Sure.
I'm just trying to rush you.
Anyway, like I think that there are some ways that they can do that in a way that is good. Like Donna obviously had a crush on Jack, but it wasn't something where every time Jack was around, she acted a lot like it. She was able to have normal conversations with Jack, even though eventually that didn't come to fruition. Jack married someone else. The thi-
Fruition?
fruition. Fruition.
Fruit in
It's
there.
it's fruition.
It's fruition.
Fruitious.
It's magically fluicious.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just one more other thing that I wanted to add. So my rating is gonna just be 5 out of 5 because I did enjoy the episode. There were
5.
funny. We're 5 out of 10. Sorry,
Okay.
but I did.
Banging rating right there.
I hate it. I love it.
It was 5 out of the 5 I'm giving it, but that's out of 10.
Okay.
Make
All
it
right.
all of the 5 I'm willing to give it.
But
Yeah, Kevin,
mainly
what did you
because there were parts I didn't like. There were parts I did like, and I can't decide. So I'll just give an average,
Nice.
stupid rating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this last episode, as I was trying to say before, is a two-parter. Finally, Wutan, and and what's her name? Pennywise.
Penny
It's weird we have these leftover. We have these characters that are left over from the Green Ring,
Yeah.
Buck
Mhm.
and Penny.
And
That
now they're about to put a ring on it.
oh,
Yeah.
I wish that Penny's name wasn't Pennywise because it's a dumb name.
No, for-
That's what she
and-
said.
I wish that Buck didn't have a Southern accent because it's a dumb accent. And both of those things are things that are just, they have to keep doing because these are characters that it worked fine for when they existed.
Yep.
But now that they're in regular Odyssey world, anyways, just something that I noticed.
Garrett.
So they're getting married, and so there's this 2-part, extremely tedious episodes that just are, oh my goodness, these were not my favorite, I will say. These were, am I the only one who feels like these were really difficult to listen to?
No, I disagree.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, we're going to have some real debates on this episode.
Okay, so here's...
Because we need more of those.
I'll just say this, and then I won't interrupt very much.
Okay.
The whole ring part was really annoying because you knew that old lady didn't steal Wutan's ring. You know it was misplaced at some point.
I mean, I almost thought she was this crook.
Oh, come on. We know. So there's all these things, and the brother is getting so worked up about it. And we know that, of course, she didn't steal the ring. It would have been interesting if she did. If it turned out that she actually was a crook. I was like, what if it does turn out? Nah, they won't do that. And they didn't do it. Instead, they're like, well, the brother loves her all along. And then the other storyline is the same, where it's the same as the ring thing, where it's just like, oh, this bad thing happened. Oh, Connie's freaking out. Oh, this. And so there were 2 twists in it that I liked. One was that they ended up getting married, because we all thought they were going to cancel the wedding.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, they didn't. They got married early. Thought that was good. And then I really liked that the brother had the ring all along. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So wasn't terrible, but to me, there were a few parts where I was just like, it was a little bit, it felt like it was poking my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, this is really being stretched out into 2 parts, and it doesn't need to be. I feel like they just made it 2 parts because
it's Wooten and Penny. We've been talking about this relationship for a while. We got to do a full 2-parter so we can.
You know what this album needs more of?
2-parters.
And 2-parters.
More 2-parters. They should have made them all 2-parters. Then we could have had a full album. And one last thing I'll say.
No. It's a 2-parter because there are 2 partners.
2 becoming 1.
Ah.
Yes.
Marriage. Because it's 2-part episode, but it's 1 episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marriage.
That's pretty deep.
That's deep.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did like about it, I must admit, is I did just get married, and that kind of craziness is happening during your marriage, like your wedding day. You're like, oh, did I remember this? Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, we got to do this. Oh, and it would be nice to be able to just say, okay, let's just do 1 party. The rehearsal dinner is the wedding, and just that's it. And then we can go on the honeymoon.
Then we can get to the real action.
Then we can go to the Hatfields and McCoy's dinner feud.
Woo!
They're sponsoring this episode, so I have to mention it twice at the beginning and at the
legally responsible to talk about.
I've heard about how special your honeymoon is. I never dreamed.
So, but when when I got to this episode, I was kind of like, because I mean,
what
of all the character dynamics in the show of Odyssey,
Ryan's in trouble.
Dynamics in the show of Odyssey, I feel like Wooten and Penny's is kind of the most boring.
Yes, because they're cartoons.
Exactly. Yeah, they're both essentially the same character, and their conversations are never really that interesting. And they all feel they all feel a little bit, like Ryan was saying, they feel a little bit red. And I'm just like, you guys are real people. You can't act like you're reading your words to each other. And so that was kind of like, I'm not super excited about this episode, but there were some cool character dynamics in this episode. I really enjoy, even though Penny's parents are not terribly original kinds of characters, I enjoy their banter. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially
they're well cast.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And there's this hotel scene where they're I forget what they're talking about, but there's just so many funny little back and forth lines in that scene that actually had me laughing. So, and Odyssey doesn't do that very often, so I was pretty impressed. I really liked having this Eugene and Connie pretending to be married for a scene, because especially as it's kind of like a reference to, because everybody always thought they were going to get together.
Right.
someday.
And there was that episode where the April Fool's episode where
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they
So it was kind of a nod to all that. I like that. It was kind of self-aware. It was pretty fun. So that was a pretty funny scene.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just it's kind of funny to me that of all the character dynamics between different sets of characters in this episode, the one that it's actually about is the most boring.
True.
One thing I noticed though, we got Wellington back for this episode, but and he's he's kind of acting himself, but for the only episodes we've seen him recently, the only character trait we've noticed from him is basically just that he's extremely paranoid, and that was never really a prominent thing previously, and that's really all that is to his character now.
And he's rich.
He's paranoid and rich.
But Wooten's rich too, right?
Exactly.
He's a humble rich.
Right.
Exactly.
Because he can afford all that licorice and slides coming out of his house.
Yeah.
Slides made out.
He's a cool kind of rich guy.
Yeah.
And Wellington just mean.
I liked. I mean, even Wooten and Wellington was a more interesting dynamic than Wooten
and
and
Penny. Wellington was funny, you know, when he's like, I'm sorry, and Wooten's like, well, I've never heard that before, and he's like, you're never gonna hear that again, all right?
Or when he's like, you know, it almost feels like we're real brothers. like identical twins even, and he's like, barely any genetic similarities at all.
It was weird that they ended the episode with him saying something about him sucking on. There's a picture of me sucking on your thumb.
He's like, I was merely preserving my own from excess callousing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you, Kevin, I also was thrown off by the twist at the end there. I really thought they were gonna. I mean, when they said we're not getting married today, I was like, oh no. They're really going to call it off, because and this is something I've noticed. Almost every wedding, Odyssey cannot have a wedding without there's nobody that has a regular wedding in Odyssey. They're all surrounded by disaster. Like we had Jason and Tasha, that was almost a wedding, and it was just like totally everything just went wrong. Both of Eugene and Katrina's weddings, one was surrounded by one was the death of her dad, and then they come back and try to have a wedding, and everything goes wrong.
Everything.
And then Connie and Mitch try to get married. Spoiler alert, guys. They don't. Everything goes wrong.
They
there
don't. And then he dies and goes to Amsterdam. Budapest.
Some people die and go to hell. Some people die and go to heaven. Mitch died and went to Budapest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was. They really threw me for a loop there, for a woot there, and then they got me right on. And then they're like, "Oh, no, we're not getting married today. Tomorrow, we're gonna get married today."
Yeah.
That was a neat little twist there. Got me.
Yeah, it was a little twist and shout what they did there. I guess I was a little harsh on this episode when it first started. Now that you guys talk about it, I think that it's not so bad. I'm going to give it
Wait. We're not going to do ratings yet. Ryan hasn't even talked about it yet.
Yeah,
out of 10.
I was gonna say
wedding rings.
We should talk about it more, because it seems Kevin's rating goes up the more we talk about it. So I'm realizing that I'm really quiet. Give me a second, guys.
Yeah.
What's happening right now, Ryan?
My mic is.
Give us a scoop over there.
Really quiet.
What's the Odyssey scoop over there?
Can you hear me?
Good one. We can still hear you kind of, but it's still not very loud.
It's been loud. There we go.
That's a little better.
Someone's asking on the chat what you guys' YouTube channels are.
Why don't
can
we
you
get to
share
that? Let's get everything finished up so you can head out, Kevin, and then Ryan and I will maybe stick around and answer some questions and stuff.
Sure.
But don't I have to?
Yeah, you'll just have to come over and turn off the stream whenever.
Okay, it'll just keep running. You'll hear me eating in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Good idea.
Anyway, as I was saying, so I enjoyed the episode. I have been waiting for the inevitable with their wedding to happen for quite a while. And I think that like there were in any episode there's going to be the cliche things I don't like and the things that I do like that are funny. I think that in this episode the funny kind of outweighed the cliche. Other than that, they did throw me for the loop or the woot or whatever in the fact that they did get married, because I was concerned because the title is Without a Hitch. So does that mean they are going to be without a marriage?
Probably.
Yeah, but that's not what happened.
It isn't.
And yeah, I think what was the funniest thing to me? There was, I had it in my head and now it's gone.
Stuff in there.
It's the fact that Connie's the the wedding organizer.
Oh yeah.
And she's been dreaming about this for years, and every single time something goes horribly wrong. Every time, I don't know, either this is not her calling or God is definitely
have a website asking for quotes of like past clients to boast about her great service, and everyone's gonna be like, yeah, my wedding didn't turn out at all.
No, it'll be the complete opposite. It'll just be really weird. Like, thanks, Connie, for the great wedding. I couldn't have done it without the elephants.
Was there an elephant one?
I don't know. There probably will be if there hasn't been.
Oh, now after they listen to this episode.
Because they're going to take all our ideas.
They're going to take all of our ideas. Even
Just so
Kevin.
you guys know, the Odyssey team, I know you're listening to this. If you want to use any of our ideas, you're going to have to both credit us as co-writers and give us $1 million.
And link to all of our YouTube channels.
I just want my name in an Adventures in Odyssey episode. That's all I want.
You know, I've been in an episode.
Yes, I do. Because you're amazing, awesome Kevin, and then there's Ryan. But Ryan wants to be in an episode.
Well, I'll call Nathan and tell him. Why didn't you get Brock to put you in one?
Well, I wasn't in an episode of the podcast. When they were doing the Dr. Broccoli and the Get in the Show contest, I was an extra.
Oh, neat.
Nice.
On the pod.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, as for my rating, I will give it a 6 or a 7, probably closer to a 7 out of 10, just because I enjoyed the episode. I usually tend to enjoy multiple part episodes because they're able to fit more substance, also at the same time more cliche and not substance, but at the same time I get more out of one storyline. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. What was it? Like a green and orange tuxedo.
Nice.
I probably botched that really bad, but green and orange tuxedo. I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
I apologize, Garrett. I don't know what's going on with my audio, and
you're fine. You're fine.
To be
It
honest,
sounds good now.
You're gonna have a fun time editing this.
I always do.
Well, I forgot I was recording for a while and backed away, so it's going to be super quiet.
Yeah, great.
For
Cool.
a little bit. So good luck. You're going to need
Kevin,
it.
What's your rating for this one, Kevin?
I already gave it.
Oh,
I gave it 6, but maybe I'll bump it up. Maybe I'll bump it up to a 7 now.
Oh wow, because it's been longer.
Yeah. The more I think about it.
I wrote down my ratings a while ago so as to not be biased.
Nice.
And I'm also going to give it a 7. I felt like it was pretty decent. Not a bad episode.
Yeah. So there were just, I felt like it could have been one episode and it would have been fine, and we could have trimmed the fat and not gotten as many like just it felt like they were dragging it out for no reason.
Yeah, but see, they wanted to really reflect Wooten and Penny's relationship. And
by having him
fat, so
that it's been long and drawn out.
Yeah. No, I mean, they could have spent more time on that. This was kind of this could have been anybody getting married.
Right. This was pretty much a very similar episode to the Eugene and Katrina wedding episode.
Yeah.
The wedding bells toll.
Yeah. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it unless I change it.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today for this review of the Adventures of the album 6.
That thing.
I wanted to say something real fast. Thank you, everybody. There've been like 50, at some point 60 people watching this live on my channel, and I really appreciate that. I know this is different, but we were gonna just record this as an audio thing, and we were like, why don't we do this live on here? So we figured people would enjoy that, and if you did, great.
YOLO.
If you didn't, well, get over it already. It's a free video.
It's a free country, man.
It's a free country.
That's communism, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
And speaking of communism,
Kevin, censor.
Kevin, did you got to go? You gonna stick around for another minute, or?
yeah, I mean, just take your time. I'm just reading the comments. I mean, I figured if we
I unfortunately
guys, if you have any
gotta
questions for any of us here on the Scoopcast, maybe Kevin for a sec before he leaves, and then I think Ryan and I will stick around for at least a few minutes until Kevin decides to come turn this.
well, Ryan said he has to leave too.
Ryan said he has. Oh, sorry.
So Garrett, it's
I
just gonna
think
be.
gotta go.
It's just gonna be me.
Garrett's
I
just
can
gonna be
sit around
sitting
for
here.
like 5 minutes and then I'm done.
Okay.
5 minutes. Hold on.
That's
the reason why I'm acting weird is because I'm trying to get back. I left the chat on accident. I think I clicked on somebody's name or something on accident.
Garrett, are we done recording?
Yeah, we can. Well, no, let's keep it on. Well, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, do you want us to sign off? Say something like. And this has been the
No,
Odyssey.
I'll just fade it out like I usually do, and then I'll do a little wrap up afterwards.
Okay. Cool.
Don't worry
I'll
about
stop
that.
the recording. Save project.
Yeah, you can send me. Your
Okay,
files.
I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.
I
Yeah, if
did
any of
it.
You guys have any questions before we go? Hannah MK wants to know, Kevin, if you're a communist.
Oh yeah, definitely. I wish that we could forcibly take anything that anybody earns and then equally distribute it, to people who don't earn it.
Cooking Media asks Kevin to say hi. Also, Jay Kopp says, "What is Adventures in Odyssey?" I don't really know what it is. Other people listen to it, but I don't know about it.
Great question. I shared a link to the album, to the AIO wiki in the comments.
We should probably share the Odyssey Scoop page because we're that show.
Okay, you can do that too.
I'll find that.
And so I put that not in the comments, but I put that in the description, and then I'll put the what is it called? OdysseyScoop.com.
There you go. I'll go paste it in the thing.
I put it in the description, guys. So if you want to find out about Adventures in Odyssey, it's a radio show that has been on for 30 years. It's a Christian radio show that all three of us basically grew up listening to, and it's still going.
Ryan's still growing up listening to it.
And Ryan's still growing, so we really love it
now, but sure.
It's one of the few good Christian media things out there that isn't like super preachy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but like it's well done and actually has good story that people get to enjoy. So even if you're not like a Christian, it's still something that you can enjoy and has great life lessons as well.
Awesome. Banana asks, is it free? Actually, the show is not free. You can buy albums or you can listen, but you can listen to it on the radio, as well as you can also stream whatever the current episode is that's airing on the radio on witsend.org. They've always got streaming player there.
I mean, and I will say that there are, I think I said this already, but there are like episodes that are more preachy or more Christian than others. There's lots of different writers and stuff, but it's always pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not apologizing for its Christian aspects, but just I spend so much time like criticizing Christian content on my channel. I just wanted to let everybody know that this is one of the good ones.
This
kid
here asks, is live streams going to become more of a regular thing? I think people are hoping you'll do some more live streams. Is this going to be more of a thing?
You never know. This person, I can't pronounce the name, but asked if I ever played the Adventures in Odyssey video game, and I have. And
I did too. That is a great game.
Is definitely not as good as the show.
But if you're a Christian and you're only allowed to play Christian video games,
It's the
one of
best
better
thing
ones.
ever made.
Kevin, you should do
And that one mission where you have to shoot and try and catch all the little Sherman dogs is really hard.
Oh, someone just asked if VeggieTales in the house is awful, and I have a script right here of a movie night that I'm about to record about one of the episodes.
Whoa!
And yes,
So we'll find out if it's any good.
Yeah. Let's see. What's a line from it?
Here, I gotta take
Ugh.
a future episode.
Ugh,
see you,
I
Ryan.
say.
Thanks for helping us out and doing this.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
And then I explain why the original show worked. Bye, Ryan. It was good talking to you again.
Good talking to you too.
Always great. I probably should get going too. But yeah, VeggieTales in the house isn't any good.
Just for a more clear answer, it's terrible. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
I do say the reason the other show worked is because the entire idea of VeggieTales was that the vegetables were doing a variety show. They are either talking to the camera or telling a story or acting in a play. You understand that the vegetables are trying their darndest, cussing, to tell a great story. Yeah. And they're retelling human stories the best way they can. But since they're vegetables, well, they just weren't smart enough, and so they goof up. And that's where the comedy comes in the original show. In this show, it's trying to act like the vegetables are real people. And we live in a real town, and so it's just not great. Anyway, little sneak peek there of what's to come in the next month.
To sneak. Oh, somebody said good night, Ryan. Good night, Kevin, and good night, Garrett. Wow. How meta.
Someone's upset. They're not really upset, I imagine, that I cussed.
Kevin cusses? What? Did he just say language?
All right, I should go because my wife is awaiting for me.
Go have a nice time with your wife. Thanks for doing this, Kevin.
And I like her more than I like you, Garrett.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Turns out.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.